like to introduce Jessica Migneault. Jessica joined the Hopkinton Senior Service team as the Assistant Director in the midst of the pandemic in July 2021. Prior to coming to Hopkinton, she lived and worked in Rhode Island, connecting seniors and disabled adults in federally subsidized public housing with resources, programs, services, and opportunities for personal development. Jessica is going to be taking us on a journey about the Hopkinton Senior Center from the basement of the town hall to where it is now on Native Street. She'll talk about how the senior services team goes beyond traditional programming and to provide services and opportunities to help seniors not just survive, but to thrive in the community. Annette is ill, so she couldn't be here, so I just filled in.
Oh, okay.
Jessica,
well, thank you. First, start by saying thank you for inviting me to come out and talk about the Senior Center. Anytime we get to kind of come out and talk about the programs and the activities that we're doing and the really important stuff that we're doing, it's a really great chance for us, and so I really do appreciate getting the chance to come out and talk today. So, as was mentioned, I joined the Senior Center in July of 2021, right as we were reopening from the pandemic. And I want to clarify that when I say reopening, what I really am referring to is reopening for in-person services. The Senior Center never closed. We were always there for the community. We were there on the phone, we were there virtually. We did drop-off meals, we did drive-through programs. We had a vet's breakfast in the parking lot. We tried our best to reach the community in a safe way, in an impactful way. And so when I say I joined when we were reopening, really I just mean I joined as we were reopening for in-service programs. I don't want to diminish the really, really hard work that the team did during the pandemic. They probably worked 5 times as hard as they normally do, trying to provide services to the community. So today I'm going to talk about kind of 5 main things. Our trip from the basement to the main floor, kind of the programs that we have now, our outreach services, our AFDF initiative, and then our volunteers, which are really kind of the heart and backbone of what we are able to do. So we'll jump right in. And we'll start with the beginning. You will see a lot of pictures because I felt like looking at pictures would be a lot more interesting than looking at me. So feel free to really enjoy the kind of the photos that are coming up. So as many of you know, we started in the basement of the town hall, probably in a room not even this large. And so programming was difficult. We didn't have a commercial kitchen, and so providing meals was difficult. We didn't really have really good separate office space, and so providing confidential information or having private conversations and private meetings with individuals was difficult. We still managed to do it. We still had a great time. We still had a lot of fun. But it was just a lot more difficult. And it was a really great way for us to start to know the community and kind of start to build our reputation and our programs. And so this is our old, when we were in the basement of the Senior Center in 2005. You can see we have a very small, non-commercial kitchen with a regular refrigerator like we have at home. And so you can imagine that anyone who's come to the Senior Center or had a meal at the Senior Center knows exactly how popular meals are. You can imagine it must have been incredibly difficult with a single refrigerator and a non-commercial kitchen. In talking with some people in preparation for today, I was told they did a lot of soups and sandwiches because those were easier and the bigger meals were often brought in. But like I said, they had a lot of fun. They still had their parties. This is a Halloween party, and they were having a blast. Again, here you can kind of get a picture for, if you're kind of looking at this picture on the right-hand side, you can kind of see a half wall. So when I say we really didn't have a lot of separate office space, we didn't have really the ability to separate programs and events and things like that, that's what I'm referring to. People still, again, they came out, they had a great time, but you can see just by the pictures, this room is at capacity. So for these large-scale events, our building was at capacity. And so we had to get creative. And so here on the right, we have the Walking Club of 1989. And it looks like it's maybe a day like today. They're in their winter coats. There's no leaves on the trees. And they're out in the community, and they're walking through Hopkinton. And so that was kind of what we did. We tried to bring programs out into the community because we didn't offer things like exercise programs. We didn't have the ability really to have kind of a space that you could just hang out. You can kind of walk into the senior center now and not go to a single program and spend the whole day there, and no one is going to say, oh, you're in the way, or oh, we need this space. There's always a space that you can sit and you can read a book, you can crochet, you can do a puzzle. There's always a space, and that was really important to us because when we were in the basement of the town hall, it was really hard. You either have set programs where you're coming in at this time and then they're leaving for the next group, or you have no programs so people can kind of come in and freely enjoy the space. There's no way to have both of those in one location at the town hall. And so in 1999, we actually started the building committee. It was 5 individuals along with the senior center staff, and they worked tirelessly to find us the land that was not only going to be for the future senior center, but we wanted something that was also centrally located. Initially, I believe there was talk about it being up on Fruit Street. That's the other side of town for some people. And so having it downtown where you can get to the library, the town hall, the post office was really a key factor here. And so in 2005, they worked out with the Hopkinton Housing Authority to actually use the land behind the Housing Authority that was owned by the Housing Authority, and they leased it to us so that we were able to break ground, and there's our initial foundation that we have built our building and our programs upon. And so on Saturday, October 14th, 2006, we opened. We had our official open house. People were able to come in, and we haven't stopped since. We have only continued to expand our services. And so let's take a look at kind of some of our, kind of where we're at now. So our mission statement right now is to seek and enhance and enrich the quality of life for adults 60 and older in the town of Hopkinton by providing activities and services that encourage independence, healthy living, and continued participation in the community. We envision a Hopkinton where seniors are valued and respected, where they have active and independent lives, where they're able to live safely in their homes and in the community for as long as they choose, because Hopkinton should be seen as a great place to retire, not just a great place to raise kids. We know we have a fantastic school system, and we want to make sure that we have a fantastic senior services. So our current facility, we have a multi-purpose room that is good for groups of 20 to 200. We have special events, holidays, fitness classes, recreation programs, meetings, cultural programs, entertainment. We used to have a chorus that met pre-pandemic that has not come back since the pandemic. We host the Veterans Celebration that happens every year on Veterans Day. And we also host a lot of town meetings. So we're not just there for the seniors, we're there for the community as well. After hours, our great room is often used for many town meetings. And so that has been a huge game changer for us. That room has made it so that we're really able to reach the community at large. We also have a full commercial scale kitchen, which has been fantastic. Again, if you haven't had a meal at the senior center, I will tell you that you are missing out. They are the best lunches, and they're only $5, and you can't beat a $5 lunch. We also hosted cooking classes pre-pandemic. We haven't brought that back yet, but we are hoping to in the new year. And so we also are able to have a separate dining room space. So we can have programs going on and we can be eating lunch. Or we can be having a cup of coffee. We have a birthday lunch every month where we celebrate if it's your birthday in that month, because not everybody gets to hear happy birthday on their birthday from people, and so we want to make sure that everybody feels celebrated. And we also have Celebrity Server, which is a great opportunity for the people who come to the center to meet different people who work in the town. In the top right corner, you'll see the town manager came and was the celebrity server a few months ago. And that's just a really great way for not only for the community members to see the great stuff going on at the senior center, but it really gives the members a chance to talk and connect with people who are working in the town and maybe making some of those key decisions that will affect our lives as we age. We also have activity and craft spaces. We run pottery classes and knitting classes, quilting. We do knitted hats. We have a hairdresser once a week. We have a loom weaving program that has been incredibly popular and successful. And so really the goal is to find ways for the seniors to have meaningful interactions. We don't want you to just come and not feel like there's not something that you can do. And so we have a lot of spaces that you can come, and there's always a unique program, a unique class that you can participate in. Okay. We also now have separate staff offices, which again, as you saw in that picture, was incredibly difficult to have kind of private conversations, confidential conversations, and now we have the ability to have those conversations, which is fantastic. We have conference space where we can have support groups and volunteer meetings and volunteers who are working on different projects and clerical projects. We have a computer lab. We always have, Monday through Friday, we have a technology assistance volunteer, and so Monday through Friday someone can come in and get help with how to check their email, how to print something off from the internet. Right now our big push is the Real ID, which will be going into effect, I believe it's in May, and so people are having to transition from that, and so you can come into the senior center and you can take a look at what am I going to need to go to the RMV with, because nobody wants to have to go back twice. And so we have a really great computer lab that people can use. We also have our virtual programs, which are new from the pandemic. We have a French class that meets. We have virtual support groups. We have virtual cultural programs. We have our twice a month show with the director, Keep Moving. And really that's for the people who during the pandemic were introduced to us and maybe have never come in our door, but are now engaging in things. And they maybe can't come out, maybe they're still uncomfortable, maybe they can't get to us for mobility reasons or transportation reasons, whatever the reason. Really the pandemic opened our eyes to virtual programming as an option for the community, and that's been pretty fantastic. We have our book club meets kind of in a hybrid fashion. A couple of our other programs do a hybrid fashion for those who want to stay home and for those who want to come in, so that everybody's can kind of get that connection. And then we also have our thrift shop, and if you haven't been in our thrift shop, I will tell you there's always new stuff. So definitely, you know, that's something people can kind of come in and just browse. And they can shop for a gift, or they can shop for different kitchenware, different housewares, and just an amazing variety of things, and the prices are always fantastic. And so that's another really great way that people can just come out and hang out for the day. They don't have to go to an exercise program. They don't have to be here for pottery. They can come in for the day and they can shop and they can walk around and hang out in the computer lab and they can kind of just hang out in some of those open spaces that we really love. On days like today, we wouldn't go outside. But in the summer, we have a gorgeous backyard. We have a bocce court and chessboard, horseshoes. We have a greenhouse program with they support our incredible vegetable garden. And the vegetables that get picked from that garden go back into our dining program. And then they also go home with the seniors when there's an overabundance of vegetables. And so we're really able to help nutrition-wise. We also have a large game room where we've got billiards tables and board games and card games and all kinds of really great things. And then we also have our kind of first aid office, if you will, where we have the town nurse who comes in, we have a podiatrist, we have an audiologist, we have shine counseling and legal appointments and veterans affairs appointments and blood pressure checks, and really a lot of those programs where you think, oh, I wish I knew where I could go for this information. We usually have that information at some point in the month. And so that's another really great opportunity for people to connect with someone and kind of get a little information. I just love these photos. And then we also have transportation. And this is actually, you guys are hearing it first. We are very excited. Starting in December, we should have transportation 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Right now, we only have it Tuesday through Friday, but fingers crossed, by December, we will have transportation Monday through Friday for people who want to come out to the center. And the transportation is great. They pick you up at home. You don't even have to come to the center. That's a common misconception. People think, I don't want to go to the senior center. I just want to go to the post office. And we'll take you. We'll pick you up at home. We'll go to the post office. We'll go grocery shopping, drop you off at the hairdresser. We will do local errands too. You don't just have to come to the center. We'd love if you did, but you don't have to. And so that's a really great, if you know someone who needs transportation, that's a really great opportunity for them. We also have, as I said, the idea is to always be welcoming. We always have a welcoming lobby, and in the winter we have a gorgeous fireplace. And that's so that people can come in and sit and hang out. You don't have to have a reason. You don't have to have a program. You can come in, and we have people who come in and they read a book, and they may not even talk to anyone, but they're not at home reading their book. They're out in the community reading their book, and that makes them feel better. And that's what we want. We want there to always be a space for people. And so we always have puzzles out. We have a library where we show movies and have card games and kind of, again, these programs where you can kind of come in if you want, go if you want, because we really want the space to feel very open and welcoming. And actually, if you look in this top right corner, that is our old living room furniture. We now have new, gorgeous furniture that was purchased by the Friends of Hopkinton Seniors a few years ago, and so now it's even more welcoming and comfortable. So now I'm going to shift gears and talk a little bit about our outreach services. So our outreach department, if you think of a restaurant, the programs are kind of the front of the house. When you first walk in, the restaurant itself, how it looks, you know, the tables and all of that stuff. That's our programs. People come for the atmosphere. The back of the house where the food is made, where the stuff really kind of goes on, that's what our outreach department does. Our outreach department does a lot of incredible work in the community. They help seniors out with financial assistance and emergency financial assistance. They also help for the entire town of Hopkinton. They are the intake site for fuel assistance, which we are just getting into the fuel assistance season. And that's incredibly important so that people have heat in their homes. And they spend a lot of time on heat assistance in the winter. They also help with nutrition assistance, whether that is setting up SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance, whether that is working with food pantries like Project Just Because, whether that's setting up Meals on Wheels, setting up meals from our dining room, etc. They are phenomenal. They are constantly out in the community. They also oversee our transportation assistance, and so they oversee non-emergency medical rides, someone that needs to get to a doctor's office. They work with volunteer drivers to get people to and from those appointments, but they also help with non-medical rides. And so connecting people with services like the Metro West Dial-A-Ride service that goes throughout the Metro West area. Dial-A-Ride is not a medical transportation service. You can take it to go anywhere. Kind of within the town, and so they help to coordinate so that people aren't stuck at home. They also do medical equipment loans. This is a biggie because at some point you end up with a surgery, you need rehab, they tell you get crutches, get a walker, get a cane, and you use it for 4 weeks and you've spent $100, and now what do? And so really that's a great service because it's a free program that we offer to people in Hopkinton. Because again, unless you know you're going to be needing that walker for for the rest of your life, why not borrow one, save your money, and then you just return it when you're done. And they also do a lot of community engagement programs. They're at Hop 101. They have been doing some balance programs at the Housing Authority. They just finished up one a couple of months ago. They are constantly looking at ways to engage in the community. They also oversee all of our home care referrals. So anybody that has a homemaker, needs help with laundry, grocery shopping, money management, things like that, they connect you with home care services. They also will help with housing as people are aging. Maybe they're thinking, I can't afford to stay in this house. I don't want to stay in this house. Whatever the case may be, they can kind of help guide people to finding the answers to their questions. And they also oversee our Sand for Seniors program, which drops off buckets of sand to seniors in the community to help reduce fall risks in the winter. They do elder law referrals, file of life medical information, general referral and information requests. They help with Mass Health. They help with Medicaid. They really are a great resource, and they're a free resource. And so if you have a question, really they're a great they are the perfect place to start when you have a question, when you don't know what to do, when you don't know where to go. They are a phenomenal team. And so I like to get up on my soapbox a little bit because, again, I think oftentimes the programs get a lot of the credit, but really outreach is doing the hard work, and I'm doing the fun things by planning programs. And yet somehow I get out into the community and they're less known. So I also want to talk about our Age and Dementia Friendly Hopkinton initiative. This is a new initiative that we undertook. We are in year 2 of it. So Age and Dementia Friendly Massachusetts is a movement coordinated by the state, and the idea is to make communities more welcoming and livable for older adults and people of all ages. And so when we talk about age-friendly and dementia-friendly and why that's important, the senior population in Hopkinton is projected to increase by 65% from 2020 to 2030. So not even in the next 10 years. And currently, about 11% of those 65 and older have some form of dementia. And so the reality is, this is a part of our community, and we want to make sure that Hopkinton stays open and stays welcoming. And so part of that age and dementia friendly piece is not only educating people about dementia and how to interact with individuals and how to have more patience and more empathy and kind of meet people where they're at, but there's also this age piece. And a lot of times people assume, because we're the senior center, they hear aging, they think we're talking about just seniors. But we're also talking about individuals of all ages that may have cognitive issues or may have some other thing going on, And so going out into the community and interacting with the community is more difficult. Specifically for folks with autism, going out into a restaurant can be difficult. It can be very overstimulating sometimes. And so right now, we are working with the community partners, we're working with a lot of town departments, and we're starting to break out into the business world to meet people and say, how are we going to address this moving forward? How are we going to make sure that our community spaces and our community businesses are open and welcoming and friendly? And maybe that's having, a set day where the music is lower in a restaurant, or having a play that is the lights are on so that it's less overstimulating for someone. And so that right now is our new initiative. It's really been kind of the main focus. And as I said, we've been working with a lot of community partners. One of the things that we did a couple of months ago through our Hopkinton Friends of Hopkinton Seniors group, we were able to purchase some memory kits. So as you walked in the library, you probably saw those to the right of the doors. And those are just a great way for caregivers to work with someone that has cognitive issues, that has memory issues. And it really allows them an opportunity to kind of spend a couple of hours together doing some meaningful projects that are stress-free, and really kind of engaging and connecting. And so we want to find those ways throughout the community. And this is our most recent photo of our Dementia Friends, people who just finished Dementia Friends training. And so Dementia Friends, those are individuals who have participated in an hour-and-a-half program where it's a series of kind of in-person talks with a couple of few video clips throughout where people talk about what it's like to live with dementia, and it turns our understanding into action. And so that could be, again, going into a community space and having the knowledge and now knowing that I need to have more empathy or more patience or more understanding. And so that's really what the Dementia Friends initiative is that we're building. It's really just creating this awareness and really making sure that the community is welcoming and open. And in the last year, we actually just hit a milestone where we have now hit 100 new Dementia Friends in the Hopkinton community. We are very excited about that. Our next training, I believe, is actually going to be with St. John's Church. So we've worked with not just the Senior Center, we've worked with Faith Community Church, we've worked with Fairview Estates and some other community groups to provide this information, because really the more people know, the better the community is going to understand and the more aware the community is going to be. And lastly, our volunteers. As I said at the start, they are the heart of our center. We couldn't do anything without them. We have tax credit workers, we have community service workers from the schools and the churches, we have corporate service days who come in, and then we just have folks who are part of the community and they want to volunteer their time. They're greeters, receptionists, they work in our dining program, they work in our kitchen, they work in our gardens, they facilitate programs, they're medical drivers, they provide technology assistance, they do blood pressure checks, they work in our thrift shop, our library, they help with clerical projects, with the memory cafes, they are performers at some of our events, they help out with holidays. Really, every single thing that we do, we could not do without our volunteers. And so we're incredibly grateful for the amount that we have something like 150 volunteers who are active throughout the course of the year, which is pretty impressive. And here's just a couple of shots. You may recognize a couple faces from some of these photos. And there's our old volunteer coordinator, Sue, before she retired. And that is it. That's kind of in a nutshell what we do.